yes and figure it out later. So let me tell you where I first learned this perspective, and it was I was actually driving to take my sick grandmother to the doctor. I took the wrong turn, ended up at the end of a road. For those of you that are in Phoenix, Sunburst Farms in the West Valley, and there was this 5-acre parcel with a house on it with a for sale by owner sign. Now, what some of you may think, because you're in real estate, is like, oh, for sale by owner, I'm going to call to try to get the listing. That's not my thought process. It's actually the last part of the process when I'm going through my processes. So I called the for sale by owner, got his price on it. I was like a salivating dog of, I got to figure this out. Like, there's something here to make money. And we're not talking about commissions. We're talking about bigger things beyond commissions, a bigger mindset. And so I called the for sale by owner. He wanted $350,000 for this 5-acre parcel with a 3,300 square foot house that was completely outdated. It was a family inheritance. And so I was so excited, right? I didn't know what to do or how to contain myself. So I got home and I'm like, I'll have a contract to you right away. So I got a contract to him, disclosed I was an agent. Okay, so here we go, right? Now the seller has accepted the contract. Oh shit, what do I do now? I don't have any money. I don't have any cash. I really don't have any relationships with money. Like, what am I going to do? Now, this is before I knew anything about the wholesale market, the investor market, any of it. That's it. Like, I didn't know what to do, but I knew there was something here. So, I had my 10-day inspection period, which, by the way, that's another commitment with real estate. Commit to a deal. You always have that 10-day inspection period to figure it out. That's the cool part about this. You're not totally committed to it, but you at least have a chance at it. So I went through and I called people I knew. I called everybody I could. I'm like, where am I going to get $350,000? And so finally, it came down to the wire. I'm like, okay, well, Hail Mary, I want a $40,000 reduction based on condition. And seller responded, bought me a few more days. They agreed to do $20,000. Okay. I'm like, no, I couldn't find the money. I'm like, crap. But I committed to the deal, right? I committed to try. Even if I had failed with that trial and I couldn't get the money, I knew there was something there. So unbeknownst to me, the seller comes back and says, hey, actually his attorney's like, hey, the seller really wants to get this deal done. They're willing to give you the $40,000. I'm like, okay, great. Now what? So I was actually here's a great point to the story, right? I was actually having coffee with my longtime racquetball player mentor. He was a retired CEO of a major company. And I'd never asked him this question, but I did. I was having coffee. I'm like, extremely timid, almost like the first time I took a listing appointment. Would you loan me $350,000? I have a house I want to buy. Oh my God, he said yes. Yeah, he did. He gave me $350,000 at 10%. Super high interest rate. He was happy to do it. Cool thing was he was kind of investing me, and I was excited about that. I didn't realize. Guess what? There's people in your sphere that you don't realize that'll help you with that commitment. So, needless to say, I ended up buying that house for $310,000. We did a little bit of renovation on it. And by the grace of God, 6 months later, a builder actually bought that 5-acre parcel from me. We made about 50, 60 grand on that deal. It was our first kind of like big home run. Here are the takeaways from that. One, you've got to commit. Try it. I don't care if you write the contract just to see what it feels like to be in that position. And then if you have to cancel, you have to cancel. If it's not the right deal, you ran the numbers, they didn't work, I don't care. Takeaway is commit, number one. Number two, figure it out after you have the contract. Don't be scared to commit something. You have an inspection period. You have things that are there. And you also have resources. Hey, maybe you're not in that position where you can find the hard money, but you have a resource like myself where like, hey, I got this deal, but I don't have the money to do it right now. I'd really like to invest in myself, but I don't have the money to do it. Okay, cool. Now, those two things. Now, the third thing is the ability to ask, right? So the dependence on hard money, relationship money, cash is going to be dependent on how big the deal is. There was a time in my life that I was paying 14 and 15% on money, but if the deal was good enough, it was okay, right? I had to give up some to get somewhere. I gave up some profit for the learning capability of it. So don't be scared to take on more expensive money. You're going to make less, but it's a part of the opportunity. It's part of the learning experience. It took me 5 years to go from paying 10 to 15% for capital to a time where I'm paying 6 to 8% for capital now, on text messages. It took me 5 years to build those relationships. It doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen. And those are the takeaways. 1, commit. 2, find a resource for money. And 3, move on. Pay for your experience. It's okay. And if you can't do something with it and you know there's money there, sell the deal, right? That's where the wholesaling comes into place. It's just selling contracts. It's a whole different topic. My point is, there's opportunity everywhere, and you have to be willing to jump in and commit, knowing, whether you're on a listing appointment, you're with a buyer, whatever the case may be, there's a commitment, and then figure it out. Build the plane on the way down. Hey, I'm Steve Valentine, and if there's anything I can do for you, please follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, as I'm trying to do the YouTube thing, and there's more videos around here somewhere, but my goal is to impact you and your business so that you can see greater opportunities and not just trade time for money, and ultimately invest in yourself for your future wealth.